Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Chidanyatasi Purvakshana. Chidanyatasi Purvakshana. Shilakankanakalare. Shilakankanakalare. Ito nasinga parato nasinga. Ito nasinga parato nasinga. Yato yato yami tato nasinga. Yato yato yami tato nasinga. Bahe nasinga ridaye nasinga. Bahe nasinga ridaye nasinga. Singam sharanam prapati. Singam sharanam prapati. Singam sharanam prapati. Singam sharanam prapati. Savakara kamala vare natha adbhuta shringa. Dalita hiranyakashipu anupinga. Keshavadita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Kamala Varena Adbhuta Shringa. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jagadisha Hare. Jagadisha Hare. Savakara kamala varena kamadhuta shringa. Dalita hiranyakashipu anubhinga. Keshavadrita narahari rupa. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Savakara kamala varena kamadhuta shringa. Dalita hiranyakashipu anubhinga. Keshavadrita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Narsinga Dev, Narsinga Dev, Narsinga Dev, Jaya Narsinga Dev, Jaya Narsinga Dev, Narsinga Dev, Narsinga Dev, Jaya Narsinga Dev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Welcome, dear devotees, to our Thursday evening class.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
So good to see you.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yes,
I missed last class, Mataji.
No problem. So we can make it up here by getting started as soon as we can on this. So we are going to get started with the short prayers to the spiritual master. Om Ajnana Timarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome, dear devotees, to this class, and we'll start with a quick poll to see how you're feeling today. So take out your pads and answer this poll that is showing up on the screen for you here. And let's see what people are going to tell me. One is feeling transcendental. That is certainly good news. And let's see more responses here. One is feeling good. And okay, there are more. Take out your pads, be nimble, answer quickly before the poll gets away and disappears from your screen. Two are feeling good. How many do we have on the call? We have 6. We have 6. We have 7. All right. Wish I was someplace else. Somebody says, wish I was someplace else. And I will have to ask that a little bit more. We'll have to discuss that one a little bit more. Okay. So you have a choice to go wherever you want it to be. I wish it's a better place than this one. So transcendental 1, good says 2, and 1 says, wish I was someplace else. And let us see. Okay, I don't think anybody else is wanting to move their fingers today, so we will end the poll here. And Shukarupa Mataji is feeling tired. I will have to add that to the options there. Tired. Okay, so let's get going. This was just a little icebreaker. So we have been talking about Bhagavad-gita, and chapter 3, which is Karma Yoga. We had covered quite a few verses. Today is the 10th verse. And I'll do a quick recap of what we have done so far. So I'm going to start sharing the screen again with you so that you can see the Bhagavad Gita words there. Okay, so contents of the Gita summarized. Text 1, Sanjay said, oh, is that the right one? No, it's not the right chapter. We need to go to chapter number 3, and here it is. Arjuna's Karma Yoga. Arjuna said, oh, Janardhan, oh, Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? Can somebody type out really quickly what is ghastly in Sanskrit? We have been using this word so many times now. And let's see the chat window. What does the chat tell us? There are 4 responses on the chat. Hore, yes, kintum karmani hore mam, right? Okay, that's good. And then, so he's saying, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. And one of the reasons that I repeat these verses over and over again is there's a lot of connection between the verses as we go forward. We will also come backward and look at the verses because there are connections. Arjuna has asked many questions, and we need to find a way to answer all of them. So text number 3, Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are 2 classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment, and which also means that you are a Kshatriya. You won't be able to sit idle and not fight when there is atrocities there and injustice around you. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. Even one cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. So do your duty. Then work done as a sacrifice for Viṣṇu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. So even if you're doing your duty, you have to think that this is a duty that you're doing for Krishna as a sacrifice for Krishna. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So quick check over here. I'm going to stop sharing. And if you can take out your notepads and tell me any keywords, just one per person. Just give me one key, any key concept or any key thing that you heard and have been hearing for these last 10 weeks, 9 weeks on chapter 3 now. Anything that comes to your mind from the monologue that you participated in here today. So, Vaishana Mataji says, pretender, very good. And sacrifice is also there. One word per person, please. Khyati Mataji says, most beneficial to me. Yes, liberated, very good. Yes, these are the words that Krishna has been discussing and with Arjuna in these chapters. Okay, all right, liberated. So, good. Okay, so let's go back to and do the verse for today. Now, today's verse is a tongue twister, right? So just be aware, fasten your seatbelts and get ready for some roller coaster on the tongue. Okay, so 3.10. Sahayagyaha prajaha srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasvishyadvam eshavostva ishtakamadhuk sahayagyaha prajaha srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyatvam eshavostva ishtakamadhuk sahayagyaha prajaha srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyatvam eshavostva ishtakamadhuk. And then let's look at the synonyms here. Saha means along with. Yajña, sacrifices. Prajaha, generations. Srishtva, creating. Pura, anciently. Uvacha, said. Prajapatihi, the Lord of creatures. And anena, by this. Prasavishyadvam, be more and more prosperous. Eshaha, this. Vaha, your. Astu, let it be. Ishta, of all desirable things. Kamadhuk, bestower. Okay, so some key words over here. One is yajña, and what does yajña mean? Give it to me on the chat, please. What does yajña mean? Yajña means sacrifices. So Kumar Radha Mataji, and let's see if others agree with her. Vaishana agrees, Sutapa agrees too. Okay, then we'll take it. All right, and then prajaha. Prajaha means prajaha. Generations, says Vaishana Mataji. Anybody else agrees or disagrees? If you agree with with Sukomal Radhe Mataji, type a yes. If you don't agree, then give your meaning. Generations, and yes. Okay, fantastic. All right. And then what is Kamadhuk? What does Kamadhuk mean? Kamadhuk, bestower, bestower, bestower. Very good. And what is Ishta? Ishta, Ishta, Ishta. Ishta is Besta. Ishta is Besta, says Kyati Mataji. Best. Ishta is of best. Ishta. Ishta. Ishta of all desirable things, right? Desirable. The key word there is desirable. Okay. So let's go inside the verse and see what does it mean. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, all along with sacrifices for Viṣṇu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajña, sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving freedom." Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The material creation by the Lord of creatures, Viṣṇu, is a chance offered to the conditioned soul to come back home, back to Godhead. And I'm just trying to adjust the screens here. Okay, these consoles keep coming on me. Yeah, okay. To get rid of this. All right. The Vedic principles are to help us understand this eternal relation. It is stated in Bhagavad-gita, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedya. Which chapter of Bhagavad-gita is this from? Vedescha sarver aham eva vedya. Vedescha sarver aham eva vedya. Sukumal Radhe is precisely saying 15.15. And does everybody agree with that? Are you agreeable? Is this 15.15 really? Really, really? Is it 15.15? What do others say? Khyati says no. Vedescha sarver, and Vindhyavali says yes. Ooh, there's a tie over here. And if I was the compare for who wants to be a millionaire, I would have said that your first guess is always right. So 15.15 it is. Sarvasya cham hidi sannivishta. Yes, you're right. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. In the Vedic hymns, it is said, Patim Vishwasyatmeshwaram. Therefore, the Lord of the living entities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Viṣṇu. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also, 2.4.20, Srila Sukdev Goswami describes the Pati in so many ways. Right? This is very, very interesting thing because it gives a very nice explanation for what a Pati is. So, Lord is the Pati. There is only one Pati in this whole world, and that is Lord. And all others are females, right? There's only one enjoyer. All of the others are enjoyed. Shriya Patir, Yajña Pati, Prajapatir, Dhiyam Patir, Lokapatir, Dhara Patir, Patir Gatish, Chandaka, Vrishni Satvatam, Prasidata me Bhagwan Satatam Pati. So the Prajapati is Lord Viṣṇu, and he is the Lord of all living creatures, all worlds and all beauties, and the protector of everyone. The Lord created this world to enable the conditioned souls to learn how to perform yajñas, sacrifices, for the satisfaction of Viṣṇu, so that while in the material world, they can live very comfortably without anxiety. And after finishing the present material body, they can enter into the kingdom of God. That is the whole program for the conditioned soul. By performance of yajña, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in all respects. In this age of Kali, the Sankirtan Yajña, the chanting of the names of God, is recommended by the Vedic scriptures, and this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtan Yajña and Krishna consciousness go well together. Lord Krishna in his devotional form as Lord Chaitanya is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32 with as follows, with special reference to the Sankirtan Yajña. Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam Sangopangastra Pashadam Yajñe Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Hi Sumedhasaha. So in this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yajña. Other yajñas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali. But the Sankirtan Yajña is easy and sublime for all purposes as recommended in Bhagavad-gita, also 9.14. So, what keywords struck you from hearing this narration? What were some of the key things that are mentioned that that Prabhupada brings out? Take out your pads and type it away to glory. Okay, let's see, answers are coming in. And I'd like to welcome Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu, Shraddha-devi Dasi Mataji, Hemlata Mataji, and Susant Das. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for watching us here and joining this Krishna Katha. And let's see, so Khyati says 15.15 is Sarva Sachaham. Yes, is that stuck your mind? Sankirtan Yajña. Says Sukumal Radhe Mataji, Vindhyavali says Yajña, and Sutapa says Sankirtan Yajña. Is it that you just remembered the last word? All of us, but you have made the right choice, yeah. Yeah, which is easy. And the fact that this is easy, yeah, that was another aspect that was brought in. And then Prabhupada says that in Bhagavad-gita 9.14 and 9.14 says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dirhavritaha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So what the people do, that these great souls, he's saying, these great souls, they bow down to me, and with great determination, they sing glories of the Lord. They chant his glories. Satatam kirtayanto mam. So Sankirtan is kirti, glorifying the Lord. Okay, so let us see here what how we can go a little bit deeper into this verse here. So in the beginning of creation, the Lord of creatures set forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Viṣṇu. Right? And if I were to tell you that the word Viṣṇu is hidden in these synonyms, can you tell me which one is it? The word Viṣṇu is hidden in this. The word Viṣṇu is there. Okay, so a lot of you have said Prajapatihi, and that is good. And then there is another name of Viṣṇu hidden there. Another name. There's another name of Viṣṇu. Well, you can say Kamadhuk means God because God grants everything, but Kamadhuk here is not mentioned. Kamadhuk here doesn't mean Viṣṇu. Yeah. But in general, yes, you can, nobody will fail you for answering that way. But there is Viṣṇu hidden here. You can start making guesses. You can start making guesses, start typing. And let's see. And Virabhav says Yajña. And was that a guess? Virabhav. And actually, Yajña is the correct answer because Yajña, we discussed last time that Yajña is one of the incarnations of Viṣṇu, is called Yajña, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to go a little bit deeper into these into this verse here that we have Sa Yajña Prajaha Shishtva. Okay, And then see how beautiful this is a very powerful verse, and defined very nicely here. And let's see. Saha yajña praja shishtva, right? So some very interesting things to keep in mind as far as this these set of words are there. Okay? So yajña is sacrifices, and we had said that sacrifice basically means that you give up something which was valuable for you, something valued, for the sake of something else which is regarded as more valuable, or it was more worthy, right? So we could give something and instead get something higher in return, like that, right? So saha yajñaha, let's just go a little bit more into this and see what exactly is Krishna trying to tell Arjuna over here. Okay? So here, saha means along with, yajna means sacrifice, prajaha means generations. Okay? So praja. Now, last time we had talked about what praja is, right? So praja, we said, was in general, praja is meant as citizens of a kingdom, is raja and praja, right? So the king, and then there is his kingdom of the people who are there, right? And we also talked about, and we said last time, that when you're talking about praja, then praja should not be restricted just to the human beings, because praja also includes your plants and the animals and the rivers and the mountains in that particular kingdom, right? But here, Lord, when he's talking to Arjuna, he's making a slight discrimination there. And when he's saying prajaha, right, prajaha, he doesn't mean everything. He doesn't mean the animals and the birds and the plants and everything like that, right? What he's just saying here is that the prajaha were created, Shrishtva, they were created. And what were they created? They were created along with the sacrifices. So when the human beings, us, were created, at that time, sacrifices, the definition, and the concept and the varieties and everything was defined there. So in this particular verse, right, Krishna is, in just one verse only, he's just saying that, okay, somebody was to ask, like last time we were reading about, you should do sacrifices. Why should I do sacrifices? Who told me to do the sacrifices? And when did they tell me that I should do the sacrifices, right? So this verse, in one verse, Krishna is telling him everything, because he's anticipating what Arjuna might ask, and so better to answer him straight away before he can even ask that question, right? So he's saying, Sa yajña prajaha srishtva. So these generation of men were created. These generation of men were created. When they were created along with the sacrifices. So if you want to know when were the sacrifices created, well, the moment men were created, at that time, sacrifices were also defined for what the men are supposed to do. Okay, so one thing interesting here is that normally when you hear the word discriminate, right? So God is discriminating between animals and men, right? Or human beings. So normally it's not good to discriminate. Like we said last time, that the king should not discriminate, should take care of the cows and the pigs and the elephants, as well as the plants and the river, as well as the human beings in his kingdom, right? But here God is making a little bit of a discrimination. And we have to understand that this is a world of duality, and you cannot live without discrimination. It will always be there. You have to discriminate. This is red, this is white. This is hot, this is cold. This is dal, this is chapati. Right? You have to discriminate. You have this man, this is woman. So you will be making those discriminations all the time. And this is dirty, this is clean. Right? So normally we do that, but idea is that you should not make discriminations for the wrong purpose. Discriminating people on the race, the color of the skin, geography and things like that. That's not the right thing. But here, when Lord discriminates, everything that Lord does is right. So here he's discriminating between the prajas, and he's talking in particular about the prajas. He's talking about the human beings, and he's saying that when human beings are created, together with the human beings, these definitions of these sacrifices, etc., are also created at the same time. And so it is a duty of a human being to perform yajna, and animals, etc., are not required. So it's kind of a little leniency that the Lord is giving. So he's not discriminating in the sense that you are human beings, so you'll get a bigger bowl of chapatis, and you are an animal, so you won't be given any food. Actually, God provides for everybody, right? Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman, right? So he does that. So he's only discriminating from the purposes of being a little bit lenient to the animals because they have no intelligence. They don't use their head, right? They work on instincts and they know how to do that. So that is a little thing that he's saying, but praja. So he's saying in the beginning when this was created, at the time, yajña was also created. Sacrifices were also created at that time, right? And so now the question is that, okay, now if you remember yajña or sacrifices, one might just say that Arjuna might just think that, okay, but this is Dwapar. And in Dwapar, what sacrifices do we do in Dwapar? People did meditation in Satyuga. They did sacrifices, Asumega Yagya, this Yagya, that Yagya. They did that in Treta. And in Dwapar, in which Arjuna is, that time you do temple, you do deity worship is what is done. So, is this what I'm supposed to do? That's very good. Then he might start to feel very happy inside his mind. That's what I was saying. Kim tum karmani ghore mam. Why are you engaging me in this? I will do deity worship. That's what I'm saying. I put my Gandiva aside and get me some, deity, and I'll bring some priests. They will do pran pratishtha, and then I will take care of them, right? Because that is what I'm supposed to do. That is what this particular verse is saying. That when the human beings were created, sacrifices were also created, and the sacrifice for this yuga in which I am there, that is the sacrifice I'm supposed to do, right? So, but we have to understand. We have to understand that he also has to follow his swadharma. And Krishna is not asking for that, right? But what he's saying is, sa yajña prajvashtva puro vacha prajapatihi, right? So he's saying that, the Lord of the creatures created all these, right? And I have said that, together there is yajña to be done. And he says, puro vacha. Puro means before. Anciently. Now he's saying anciently since a very, very long time, right? So this has been said and this has been described since a very long time, right? But if you were to look at the context here in context of chapter number 3, when did Krishna talk about that? Krishna talks about that in the 3rd verse of the Bhagavad-gita, right? So if you go to verse number 3 that we went through today, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are 2 classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculations and other by devotional service." So he had said that. And so where does the concept of yajña come in, right? Because here he seems to be talking about yajña. So now if you go inside and look at this particular verse, so he says, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha, Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta maya nagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. Right? So there is karma yoga. So there is a jnana yoga. There is a karma yoga. So what is yoga? Basically, yoga means yuj. It comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, the root word yuj, which means to connect. So here they are talking about the linking process, right? The connecting or the linking process they're talking about. And so there can be 2 types of linking processes. One can link to the Lord by trying to do analysis of this material world and saying this is not transcendental, this is not transcendental, this is not transcendental, till you come to something that is transcendental. So that way you connect to the Lord. And the second way of connecting to the Lord, he's saying, is through the karma yogena, right? By the process of devotion is how Prabhupada is defining it. So this is this connection that has to be done, right? Now, after you have done this connection, he's saying there are 2 ways that you can do the connection. Now, after what? After that, what do I do? Right? I have established my connection with the Lord. What do I do? So today's verse is actually telling, like, what are you supposed to do? I have told this pura vacha, many, from old times, Puran, from the old times, I have said this. Many years ago, I have said this. And where has he said this many years ago? Well, he has said this many years ago because he has told the Bhagavad-gita to the sun god Vivaswan, who told us to Ishtuvaku. Millions of years ago, he has told this. Bhagavad-gita is repeating it, right? So people know about that. He's just recapping it for Arjuna and for our benefit over here, right? So here he's saying, he's talking about that karma yogena yoginam, right? And so now here also there is a term pura pukta. I have said that before. So Krishna seems to be telling him, I've said that before. I've said that before. So here 3.10, he's saying pura vacha. Pura uvacha. I said that before, right? Long time ago, anciently, right? And then how ancient? Well, 7 verses ago, he said that to Arjuna here. And then inside it, again, he's saying pura prokta maya nagas, that there are 2 kinds of people. And I have also told you about that, earlier. We can understand it earlier also. And where did he say that earlier? It says that almost in the middle of the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad-gita, where we come to verse number, the famous verse 39, where after explaining to him all the qualities of the soul, Krishna then goes and says that, now I have explained to you these things through analytical study. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results, that is karma yoga. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of work. Right? And this is the essential essence that he's again establishing in chapter number 3. Okay? So he has said that pura earlier. So that's how early it is as compared to 3.3. And 3.3, he has talked about, the 2 types of nishta. And now he's saying that after you have established, after you have, yujt or connected with the Lord, then you have to do yajña for the Lord. Then you have to worship the Lord, right? Then you have to worship the Lord. And then what will happen? Prasavishyadhvam. You will become more and more prosperous, right? And you will get, right? This process will bestow, kamadhuk. This process will bestow upon you. What? All the desirable things. Remember, all the desirable things. Now, this word kamadhuk, right? Kamadhuk actually means, kamadhuk, we also know. Kamadhuk means whatever you desire, kama, right? Dhuk means you're going to get it, bestow work. But kamadhenu, dhuk also means a cow. Kamadhenu also means a cow, right? So we know that there are kamadhenu cows. We read that in Brahma Samhita, Lakshmi Sahastra Sata Samvrata Sevyamanam, right? In that Chintamani Prakara Sadmashu Kalpa Vriksha. So there is Kalpa Vriksha. Laksha Vitesu Surabhi. Surabhi is Kamdhenu cow. So they're describing the kingdom of God where there are Surabhi cows. But wait, in the previous yugas, now we don't have any Kamdhenu cows. But in the previous yugas, those type of cows were there in the material world also. And one such cow was with Vasishtha Muni. And then Vishwamitra was a king, and he saw that he had such a nice cow which could produce anything that you wanted. And so he wanted that cow. And the rishi said that, I can't give that cow to you because I'm here in the forest and people come to visit me and I need to have food for them. So this Kamdhenu cow gives me the food and milk, etc. So then he got angry, Vishwamitra got angry, and he forcefully tried to take the cow away. So when he forcefully tried to take the cow away, the cow was crying. And she turned to Vasishtha and said, Vasishtha, did I not serve you properly? Why are you allowing this to happen? Why are you allowing that man to drag me away and take him to his kingdom? So then Vasishtha said that, no, you have always served me very nicely, very faithfully. But my dear Surabhi, I am a Brahmana and I cannot fight, because he doesn't want to go against his nature. But then she said, okay, then can you give me permission for me to defend myself? And he said, yes, of course you have my permission. Go ahead, defend yourself. And then from the body of the Kamdhenu cow came a huge army of, army men. And so they beat the people there, the king's army and whoever were trying to take her away forcefully like that. So it's a very interesting thing, and people might just think that all this is a mythological story where I have ever seen cow producing these kind of things, show me the cow and things like that. But our acharyas tell us something very, very interesting over here. And that is that if you look at this material world around you, there are so many wonderful things even in this material world that will fill us with a lot of wonder. And actually, Albert Einstein says that there are two ways in which you can look at this world. Two ways in which you can look at this world. One way is to look at this world in wonder. And the second way is to look at this world in wonder, because everything in this world is wonderful if you look at it. For example, you throw a seed, a mango seed, into the soil, and then you put some water, and a mango tree comes out and starts giving a mango. Nice, juicy, ripe, good smelling mango. And what went into creating that mango? The dirt of the earth and some water and some sunlight. So look at the transformation. It is right there in front of our eyes, but we refuse to believe in the magnanimity and the wonderfulness of the Lord. It's there. You see water and earth being transformed into mango pulp. Similarly, what does a cow eat? The cow eats grass and gives you milk. So what is that mechanism? From what is that machine? We have not yet invented that machine where from one end you feed the grass and from the other end you get milk. We haven't created a machine like that yet, right? So if you understand the workings of that, it's just a matter of coming up with the right algorithm to say, okay, from one end, instead of feeding, I will continue to feed grass, but the program and the software inside the cow is going to be different, and it will be able to produce gulab jamuns for me or whatever you want. It's just a matter of programming the creature, right? And because we are in Kali Yuga, we don't deserve such goodies, so that's why we don't see those kind of things. So Kamadhuk. So Kamadhuk is the desire fulfilling cow that we have, right? And whatever we request of the cow, we will get that. But here in this context, what we have to understand is that if we serve Viṣṇu, if we serve yajña, which is Viṣṇu, by doing the sacrifices, whatever sacrifices have been performed, and whatever sacrifices have been prescribed for you, if you perform them, then Lord Viṣṇu will become your, and one of you had said that Kamadhik means that. So Lord Viṣṇu will provide, whatever are the good things that you desire, the desirable things, he will provide that. So the whole mechanism over here of, getting things, whatever you need in your life, is to make sure that you make Lord Viṣṇu happy. And how do you make Lord Viṣṇu happy? You make Lord Viṣṇu happy by performing yajña. Krishna is saying that you perform the yajña. Right? And then here that says that prasa vishwadhvam, be more and more prosperous. So you will become, at the more yajñas that you perform, the more and more you will become prosperous. And so now he's also saying that this word prasa. Am I sharing the screen with you? No, right? Let me share it with you. This word, I just wanted to, the Acharyas, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and all, they also analyze this in a different way. And let me go back to my screen here and start sharing the screen. So this word, prasa vishwadham, right? So also means, something different. So pra also means special, something special, right? And sava means puja. And isha means isha, controller, the Lord. So special puja of the Lord, right? So special puja of the Lord, basically what he's saying is that you, Arjuna, you give me something special. So what is this? What is that special thing that Arjuna can give? What is that special thing that Arjuna can give to the Lord, who has been described here as so many patis? Shriyapati is the pati of Lakshmi, Yajñapati, the pati of sacrifice, Prajapati of the citizens, Dhyam of intelligence, Loka, Dhara is our planet Earth, right? So he's the pati of so many things. He's a protector, provider, pati, like that. So Pati creates and Pati also protects. So he's the source of, and this Lord is the source of all the Patis that you know, the lower level Patis that you know about. So he's the source of all that. So what is that special gift that Arjuna can give him, right? So what is the special yajña? So he said that when we created all of you, we came with some prescribed yajñas for you. So what is the yajña that you are supposed to do? Yes, I know that this is Kali Yuga. So I am supposed to do the yajña of Sankirtan. And that when they were talking, Arjuna and Krishna, that was Dwapar Yuga. So they were supposed to do deity worship. And we know that Arjuna did do deity worship, right? They would get up in the morning, they would do the deity worship. So, but that is not special. That is not special. When you give a gift to somebody, right? So that what you can do, easiest thing you can do is to write a check, put the money, and that's it. You have given the gift. A much better gift is that, when you try to find out what that other person really wants, right? And then you go and get him or her that thing. So here we have to understand that if Arjuna has to give a special gift to Krishna, then it has to be something really good in what Krishna wants. And we know, what does Krishna want? Paritranai sadhunam vinashaye cha dushkritam. Vinashaye cha dushkritam. He wants to annihilate the miscreants. And that is what Krishna wants Arjuna to do, is to pick up the Gandiva that he has left at the back of the chariot saying, I won't fight. He wants him to pick up, and he says, Arjuna, that is the yajña that you're going to do. And once you perform that yajña, then you will get prosperity. The real prosperity will also come to you like that. Okay? So it's about 7:45, and I'm just going to stop it here, open up the lines for you to share your reflections and your questions. Remember, this is Thursday today, and we have a hard stop at 7:55 to allow the other team to settle in. And so have I allowed you to unmute yourself? I haven't, I think. Okay. Okay, go ahead. And if there are any questions or reflections, then we'll take it now. Any word that you heard, any concept that you came across, anything that you noted down, anything you didn't understand, anything you want to debate, you have 10 minutes to do that. And if nothing, then we'll take a break. You'll all get a 10-minute break today. You can go to sleep early, those on the East Coast. Okay, so everything is clear. Should I start asking questions then? Okay, now Varshana raised her hand. All right, let's see. Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you kindly pronounce this once again?
All right, let's bring that up and share it with you. Prasa Vishya Dhvam. Prasa Vishya Dhvam. Prasa Vishya Dhvam. Dhvam. Prasa Vishya Dhvam. Prasa Vishya Dhvam. Dhavam. Dhavam. Prasa Vishya Dhavam. Vam, not Dhvam. Dhvam. I think it's easier when I saw that, right? Prasa Vishya Dhavam. Dhvam. And Asia. Asia is coming from here. That's the Asia. This Asia. This Asia is here. A and then Sha, like that. So Prasa Vishya Dhvam.
Prasa Vishya Dhvam.
Prasa Vishya Dhvam. Yeah, Vishya Dhvam. So what is the yajña for you to do?
Sankirtan
Yajña. And what is the special
Chanting.
yajña that you will do?
Chanting.
Okay, chanting is Sankirtan. Okay. And what is something special that you will do? If you have to do something special to Prasava, Isha, if you have to do something special for Krishna, how do you do something special for Krishna?
To find out what he likes.
Say that, Sutapa, again.
To find out what he likes, and when we are doing service, like last class you told that what he likes or what he likes to eat. So just go through it and try to find out.
Try to find out. Yeah, that's very important, because I was just saying that about giving a gift, we have to be very, very careful about what you're giving to a person. And I remember there was a movie that I had watched, and I'd gone to one of these, moral Vyaman kind of classes. And so they had showed us a movie about a girl. She was a young 17-year-old girl, and she had a grandmom. She liked her grandmom a lot. And then it was her grandma's birthday. So she comes and gives a gift to the grandma. And so when the grandma opens the parcel, the packet, to see what the granddaughter has brought, she finds that inside the parcel was a box of chocolate. And those chocolates were the granddaughter's favorite chocolates, right? So the grandma opens that box, finds the chocolate, and he says, "Oh, well, these are chocolates that you like. Here, take it, granddaughter." So we were asked to analyze the character of the granddaughter to say that it was like, no, you see, there's a selfishness over there, that even when you're giving a gift to your grandma, you're giving something that you like and not what she likes. And then you know that you are going to get it back, right? So that is not the right thing that you're going to do, right? You have to do something that really Krishna likes. And the important thing is that, when you do whatever Krishna likes, then Krishna is pleased. And then because he is pleased, remember, he has the powers to change the algorithms in this material world. So your cow will start giving you gulab jamuns also if Krishna so desires, right? Because he's the superior intelligence. He's the originator of all the patis that we saw over here. Vashana Mataji.
Mataji, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Vashana Mataji, just hold on a second.
Yes.
Mataji, you told that the yoga we are telling that is Viṣṇu. There is one word you asked that is hidden here. So how we are connecting or why we are telling yoga or sacrifices it Viṣṇu? Why not Shraddha creating? That means somebody is creating, so that he is the creator. Why we are not telling that Shraddha is also the Viṣṇu?
Why Srishtva is not Viṣṇu? And I said, yes, you can say that as a creator. As a creator, you can see, right? And let's see what's the meaning. What is Srishtva here?
Creating.
Creating.
Right?
That's what I wrote.
Creating. It's not creator.
No.
Okay.
Right. It is Srishta, right? It is Srishta, then it is creator, and then it is Viṣṇu.
Srishtva is creating.
Yeah, Srishtva is creating while I am Krishtving. Right? Drishtva tu Panduvanikam, like seeing, right? It says in the beginning of Bhagavad-gita, Drishtva seeing, Srishtva creating. He's not creator. Right? Yeah, so that's why we didn't take that as.
So then
Viṣṇu.
sacrifice is when we are telling. So how come that Viṣṇu is like we are connecting the word Viṣṇu with the sacrifices? That's why we.
Yeah, so I was saying, where is it hidden? Yajña is the word
Krishna.
of Krishna, yajña, and it is hidden there, right? In yajña, sacrifices, right? The word is hidden there. The question was, where is it hidden, right? So some of you also said, you also gave other, right? Kamadhuk also you gave. So here it is bestower, so that's why I took it. It's bestower, right? So it's a person, bestower. But Srishtva I didn't take because it's a verb, right? It's not a noun. So that's the reason we didn't take it. Yeah? Yajña is a noun, so we take it. That yes, it's inside it. And it was just a game that we are playing. I just wanted you to come to the term yajña. And remember that yajña is Krishna or Viṣṇu.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you said that what gift should be given to Krishna. I think Krishna will like if you preach his holy name, glorify him, and bring all the people into Krishna consciousness so that they do not do any ghastly things and become all of them become devotees. I think Krishna will like that gift the most. Hare Krishna.
Very right. And then actually, there's a very famous verse which comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna is saying, Na ham tisthami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va tatra tisthami narada yatra gayanti madbhakta. So he says that I do not sit in Vaikunta planets. Naham tishtanti Vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va. Nor am I in the heart of the yogi, the mystic yogi who's seeking some mystical powers. Tatra tishtanti narada. Hey Narad, where I sit there. Where? Yatra gayanti madbhakta. Where my bhaktas are singing my glory. That's where he comes, right? So right now, it's like all these assemblies that we get together and while we recite the holy names of the Lord and sing his glories, Krishna comes there. Yes, good point, Vaishnavi.
Today's class was, in the beginning, Mataji, it was a bit complicated. I found it very difficult to absorb it. Later it became a little complicated.
Yeah, it is a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing. And then in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures, it's a very heavy verse, and our Vishnunath Chakravarti Thakur has done some heavy commentary also on that, right? Which we hear from our seniors. And yes, it is a heavy verse, and that's why. And on top of that, meaning-wise, it's heavy, and then it's a tongue twister also. There's some tongue twisting words also thrown in between there, right? And so what we have to understand is that these sacrifices that have been set are, we also have to remember, it says that in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent for generation along with sacrifices. So we have to understand that what sacrifice are you going to do? You are going to do the sacrifices that Krishna has told you to do. And don't whimsically think of any of the sacrifices that you can, anything that you think I'm going to do. That's a good sacrifice. No, that sacrifice has to be in the mode of goodness. Right? And in the Shastras, there is a verse that says for yajña, you have to do aja yajñam or something like that, right? I don't remember the exact terminology, the exact phrase, but aja yajñam means that you sacrifice aja. Now, when you sacrifice aja, what is the meaning of aja? What is the meaning of sacrifice? So sacrifice means that you put it into the sacrificial fire pit. So you make a pit, you put some, chandan lakdi or whatever lakdi, you put some heat, set a fire, and then you start putting the oblations. Now, what do you offer as oblations? Aja. So aja means seed or grains. So what this is saying is that, as part of the yajña, you put some grains, and that's what we do, right? You put 9 types of grain, right? Navadhanya, you put the 9 types of grain. Now, another meaning of the word aja in Sanskrit is goat. So people make use of that and they twist it, right? So when Krishna came forward and he said that you do the sacrifice, and as part of the sacrifice, you put the aja, put the grains into the fire. People are saying, no, he's saying put a bakra, a goat into the fire. You sacrifice a goat and then we'll enjoy eating the goat. So this is how people can twist the meaning and try to do things whimsically. And that's why Prabhupada keeps on saying, do not do things whimsically. You have to follow the Shastras. Ashastra vidhim, right? Utsrijya. So don't yeah. Right. So don't do that. There you go. So you should not do that. Don't do that. Don't give up things. Follow the Shastras. No capricious behavior that I think this is what it is. I think that is what we can't think. We have got defective senses. We have to think according to what Krishna is telling us, and Krishna is telling us this. So in the beginning, he has given us, reasons. He has said you have to do sacrifices, but give me the special sacrifice. If you really want to please me, do the real sacrifice for me. Give that to me. Okay? So think about it. Think about all that we discussed here today, right? You can go back and maybe read it one more time. That way it'll come to you, right? Basically, this verse is telling that Lord is the creator and Lord is also the provider. And as part of providing things for you, he has given you a mechanism by which you can get things for your own nourishment and your own good. And then just do that. You follow the sacrifices, do the sacrifices, and then you'll be able to come back to me. That's all. It's a very simple thing. Now we complicate, and this happened in the beginning. In the beginning of creation is what the Lord does. He's saying, in the beginning I did it, right? But we mess it all up by refusing to follow him, refusing to listen to him, so on and so forth. Okay? So thank you so much for your participation and your feedback. And we will meet tomorrow for the Srimad Bhagavatam class. But for now, we'll have to call it a day here. Thank you so much, devotees, joining us here.
Thank you so much, Shraddha
Hare
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Sakrapasabhyo Vachapittanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody. Hare Krishna to everybody.
Hare Krishna.
I'm going to stop the sharing. I'm going to stop the call.
Thank you
now.
so much for making this complicated verse so easy. In the last, you said, no, that he is the provider, he is the creator, he gives everything. That's so wonderful, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes, he is. Yes. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. All right, so fantastic.